Hello. So I chose to do my article review on this article called Touch Me, Don't Touch Me, Representations of Female Archetypes in Ann Nocenti's Daredevil. And the main focus of this article is highlighting the development of the female characters in Daredevil by Ann Nocenti and how a female writer who uses a male protagonist still aligns with second wave feminism. So a couple of things that I just wrote down were one, in Western cultures, archetypes were seen to represent patriarchal ideas and values, where public worth is measured according to masculine standard. And I think that's very true. And even with guys, they care more of the approval of their friends than how they come off to a woman as they change how they act in front of their friends. Another thing, as the golden age of comics happened in the 1940s and 1950s, I didn't know that was when the golden age was, so something I learned. Women became pigeonholed into domesticated, virginal, romantic, or transgressive archetypes, where they were dominated, lacked force and strength, and experienced objectification or victimization. And I feel like we're still feeling the effects of the victimization to this day. And guys love a good damsel in distress or someone who needs to be saved, when most of the time we don't want to be quote-unquote saved. Women, another thing, this is just from the introduction, and then they talk about the characters, but another thing was women in superhero comics walked a strained tightrope between being role models for a female audience and objects of desire for male readership. And I feel like that's the same idea of a woman can't be too strong or men will be intimidated, or too revealing or men won't desire her. And again, we're still struggling with that concept to this day. The character Karen Page is used to critique domesticity. I'm just going to talk about two of the characters. But, quote, they're using violence to achieve justice. No, not there. Using violence to achieve justice is a trope of the male superhero, while heroines are more likely to desire to make the world a better place. And we see this in The Watchmen, too, as the comedian is using almost excessive violence as his crime-fighting technique, and Laurie's goal is to save people when she saved everyone from the fire. Throughout the story, Karen is given acceptance in society vicariously through Matt, and the author exposes the fragile nature of this relationship when Matt's in a relationship like this, when Matt's in the hospital and calls for his mistress instead of Karen. And, quote, Nocenti is making a tragic commentary on the domesticated oppression of women that may be experienced in these relationship structures. And then kind of the opposite of this character is a character named Brandy Ash, and she builds agency, and I'm kind of translating agency to free will. I don't know what else it would be. At one point in the story, she's in hell, and she pulls a reverse Sleeping Beauty where she saves an angel by awakening him with a kiss. And he responds affectionately to her, and, quote, her mixed emotions to this reflects both her strongly held values and a willingness to take a lover through her own agency. And in the story, unfortunately, spoiler alert, she is killed by a male character who represents the devil, and her death, quote, a seemingly damned indictment on the consequences of a woman who is outspoken and striving for independence. And Nocenti uses Daredevil to highlight to male readers about the experiences of female characters. And Daredevil and Nocenti's success with this story is considered an achievement that Nocenti dared to challenge simplistic views of female characters and open up a wider narrative about feminist concerns. So I think that the article was just pointing out how it doesn't have to be a male protagonist to support feminism. And honestly, I wish that I found this book before we decided on our final project stories, because I would have liked to do a project on this book because it sounds really interesting. That's all I have. Thanks.